Excellent. All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, all sports ranters. All right, introducing to the crew and co-host Nico, Papa, Jake, and Drew, and Ben. All right, first time viewers, don't miss out. All right, hit those likes, leave us your fantasy questions, chat with us live here on the stream, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are growing fast, okay? And so, uh, uh, we got a lot to talk about. We are loaded with content today, you guys, and so a lot has happened, and so we just want to get right into it. Let's start off with the Monday night thriller. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is now out for the season. I know that affected Jake with fantasy implications. Real quick, I know it still hurts. I can see it still hurts. You guys can see how much it hurts. But Papa, we haven't seen you in a while, man. Thank you for coming back. Please start us off. Monday night, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen throwing picks. We got to talk about all this stuff, you guys. What happened?
I want to talk about Josh Allen. He's playing a horrible game. I don't know what's going on over there. He's just airing it out and letting Jesus take care of it. I expect a little bit more out of. Should have been a blowout. I don't know, especially when Aaron Rodgers went down. I want to talk about the tripping call that they didn't call. You know, even though all he had to do was just kick a field goal. You know, it was over anyway. But either way, it was tripping. Yes, Nick, it was tripping.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. That was a whip. He went through him and then he kicked his leg up. Come on, let's go. He played off pretty good. He fooled you. Aaron Rodgers, for anyone in fantasy football, I was high on Garrett Wilson too. It messes up his stock because we know Aaron Rodgers loves one guy, and he finds that one guy, and that guy is Garrett Wilson. I love that guy, and he should be on a different team. They should actually give a phone call for Carson Wentz. You know, he's probably still out there. That's one. We're talking about it. Jake's right. Rivers, he should come out of retirement and win the Super Bowl. That defense is a stud. They kept them in the whole way through. Your boy Whitehead, 3 picks, number 3. That's all. Nick?
I'm gonna comment on Josh Allen. I never was a true believer. When I started to come around on him a little bit was that KC Bills playoff game, one of the best games I've ever seen. We all know the Mahomes 13-second game. That was when I was like, all right, this guy's finally doing something. He could be legit. But he is what he is. He leads the league in, turnover since he came in. Obviously Dable did wonders for him, and he hasn't figured it out since Dable left. And I just think he is what he is. I think we anointed him way too fast, like we always do. Everybody considers him a top 3 quarterback, but because of fantasy, not for real football. I would take 6, 7 quarterbacks over him right now, like hands down. So he's a top 10 guy. I'm not saying he's a scrub, but he is what he is. Like, let's not. People were already trying to say he's better than Mahomes, better than Burrow, better than all that. And I'm not just reacting to 1 week. This is going back to 2-3 years ago. And so, yeah, I think coordinators matter. I think play calling matters. And, yeah, I don't know what he's seeing out there. I mean, 2 of those picks, he's like Ark said, he's just throwing up a prayer for no reason. One of them was like a punt. I get it. It was a 3rd and long. But the other ones, they're not even close. So, yeah, I don't know why he's pressing. I don't know. I thought he'd be more relaxed. Once you see Aaron Rodgers go down, you would think the pressure's off. You'd think like, hey, go out there, don't make any mistakes. We got this. Like, when you're going against Aaron Rodgers, I get that, right? Hey, I got to make the play because the other guy on the other side's going to make a play, right? So that puts more pressure. I got to go put up points. The minute Aaron Rodgers goes down, you're like, all right, 20 points going to win this thing. 17 points going to win this thing. Because Zach Wilson ain't going to score against our defense either. And so I just don't know why. It just looked like he was under duress a lot, and yeah, it's unfortunate with Rodgers too. But man, as even a Raider fan, I don't want to see it, but I thought the Jets could do something this year, and it was real devastating. As a football fan, I wanted to see what that team could do with Aaron Rodgers there, and it just it sucks that we're gonna get robbed of that for an injury.
Jacob, I know you have a lot to put in on as far as fantasy and also this turf toe fields that are happening. So please fill us in on what you're feeling about this whole situation.
First off, plain and simple, turf fields got to go. I think turf fields, over the last decade or two, they've been implemented into Pop Warner, high school, college, and I mean, you just saw it. I mean, you saw the video of Aaron Rodgers when on that play where his cleat grabbed and as he pushed forward and I mean it just popped right off the bone. NFL players have come out and they've said it over and over again. I mean, they're the ones that are playing on turf fields all the time that turf fields need to go. It's unfortunate because it just seems like every week of every year is an ACL, and I'm not, it's not that all the injuries happen on turf fields, but I believe that the turf fields becoming more and more common from such a younger age are wearing down the joints and the ligaments and the tendons of athletes. Do you ever see World Cup soccer on turf fields? Never. It's like it's just football, and you see all of these injuries. Soccer, they're on on running around for 90 minutes like all the time. Like, where are the injuries? So I think that needs to go. As far as Aaron Rodgers goes, yeah, obviously, I mean, it just sucks, dude. Like whether you love the guy or hate the guy, there was a lot of expectation for that team, and there was a lot of for a fantasy aspect, which I know people don't like to hear about when there's catastrophic injuries. But fantasy and real football and just him, it sucks all around that that happened. So as far as the game goes with Josh Allen, look, Josh Allen played terrible. I think people need to look back. Last year, Josh Allen did not have great games against the Jets either. The Jets defense is no joke. The Jets defense carried that team last year. I forget exactly where they finished, but I mean, like the Jets were on the map because of that defense. Every player that was there last year was there this year, except for Aaron Rodgers, and people were talking about them winning the East and going to the Super Bowl and this and that. It's that defense. Like, that defense is a legit squad. And so I wasn't surprised to see Josh Allen have a shitty game. I didn't think he was going to have that bad. But moving forward, as far as Josh Allen goes, I do think you got to remember, Josh Allen from his rookie year had the worst completion percentage, the worst quarterback rating. And within a year, he was like 70. He had the best completion percentage in the league, I think, his sophomore year. I don't like the way they run the offense. I don't like that they don't have a number 2 receiver. If you want to call Gabe Davis a number 2 receiver, I mean, you look at you compare him to Burrow. Burrow's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Gabe Davis is not on that level. So it's like, and then when they do decide at the end of the game to target Diggs every time, they move the ball right down the field. It's like they go through the game, and it's like they forget about Diggs, and once every 5-6 plays they throw the ball to Diggs, and then it's like I don't know what it is with the play calling or whatever, but I mean, they don't have a number 2 receiver. Gabe Davis sucks. They got young tight ends. It's just they don't make it an emphasis to run the ball. I'm not thrilled with Buffalo's the way they run that offense. I'll just say that. So Josh Allen needs to play better. He's the guy behind center. He's going to take the heat. I'm willing to give him the heat, but it's like a guy like Andy Reid can take Mahomes with nothing and make it work. And Mahomes makes it work. And they design plays to get Kelsey open. They design plays to, get these guys open and all that. And I feel like Buffalo doesn't do that. It's like it's very vanilla. There's no creativity in the offense. So I'm not ready to write Josh Allen off, but yeah, I am ready. I am getting kind of tired of the same thing every time they have a big game. Last year in the playoffs, it was literally exactly the same thing. It was just like there's no creativity to the offense. So that's what I'm seeing from it, whether it's Josh Allen or whether it's something else. But I'd like to see another real weapon on this team, because besides Diggs, if you're going to call Gabe Davis a real weapon or whatever, I ain't gonna, it's all smoke and mirrors at that point. So that's my view of that.
Well, Drew, take us on with your thoughts of Josh Allen, and please lead us into what you think was one of the biggest shockers of Week 1.
I think with Josh Allen, I think he's kind of on that same level of like Nick said, we kind of gave it to him too early, right? Like, you're the guy too quick. Yeah, he played some great games against Mahomes. Yeah, and second season, like Jake said, it was ridiculous. Brian Daboll led offense, and then obviously Brian Daboll left and he kind of disappeared. It's really similar to Lamar Jackson. When Lamar Jackson kind of transcended and became the MVP that he was, everybody was like, oh my God, this guy is the next Michael Vick, this, that, and the other. But now he's getting paid, and yeah, his winning percentage is still legitimately great, but how much of it is Lamar Jackson making plays? You know what I mean? Like, they have a great defense in Baltimore. They're a run-first team. Yeah, he's great with his legs, stuff like that, but it's like, can he come back and win games? I don't know if Lamar Jackson's that guy. He got paid like he is. We'll see. It's still early to tell. But when it comes to the guy like Josh Allen, I think there's so much weight on his shoulders. Like Jake said, he doesn't have a lot to play with other than Stephon Diggs. Yeah, James Cook, second-year player. We expect big things from him, but I think it's kind of unfair just to have a guy come in there when he didn't get a lot of snaps his rookie season, just be right away the guy, and Josh Allen is one of those kind of guys where he's not going to check down often. He's going to scramble out, and when he scrambles out, he's going to let it run and gun, and I mean, it shows. Like, he's second in turnovers since last year, and then obviously he came out last game and he threw 4. Or he had 4 total, so it's like, it's definitely concerning. I think if you have him in like your fantasy leagues, you're not going to drop him, right? I mean, there's no way you're going to trade him. He's just one of those kind of guys where it's just like you write it out, and he's obviously going to still be like a top 5 guy. His rushing ability, this, that, and the other. But actually, at an actual NFL quarterback, it's everybody put him like Nick said, everybody put him in top 3, and it's hard to see him as a top 3 guy right now with the last year and plus. So I don't know.
Here's the problem, and it has been for years, because you have these quarterbacks. Mahomes is the only one now. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were the ones back then. When the bar's so high and we see the other guys, we just want to compare them to that person. We just want to say who's the number 2, right? Well, there really isn't one. It's 1, and then like 2's like way far away, because Mahomes is just beyond. And that's how I felt about Peyton Manning. And obviously Tom Brady actually took a while, because Peyton Manning was way above Tom Brady. He had to catch up with those Super Bowls before people said, Tom Brady's better than Peyton Manning. But yeah, you have those outliers, but everybody else, they're normal human beings. They're normal quarterbacks. They all need help. They all need coordinators. They all need a good system. They all need some luck. They all need all that to then, and when it all goes, like 2 years ago, when it all went that way and they just barely lost to KC, everybody was high on Buffalo. Last year, hey, it didn't go that way. Now different story, right? So I just think, let's just analyze the player for who he is. He's a turnover guy, but he's also a good playmaker guy.
But Nick, you're saying Mahomes is above and beyond, than everybody else. Like, you were talking about needing a system, but like Mahomes played one game now without Travis Kelce. They just lost to Detroit. They put up 20 points. Like, Mahomes didn't look like that dominating Mahomes. Is Mahomes so dominating because Andy Reid is able to put him in such a system in order to be that? And my answer is yes to a little bit of both. I do think I agree with you. I think Mahomes is great. I think he's the best quarterback in the league. But I think he's in a great system that has, over the last 6 years, really built around him and his abilities and built an offensive game plan around what they have. Buffalo has not done that. I'm not ready to put it all on
Well, they did
Josh.
with Brian Dable. That was my main point at the beginning. Ever since he left, last year he had 20 turnovers. I think he led the league, Andrew. Andrew said second, I'm not sure. But he was top 2 in turnovers. And now this year's hasn't started off good. So I kind of agree with you. Brian Dable left, and Josh Allen has not looked the same at all.
Yeah. But the Chiefs do have like the number one positions. Was it Chris Jones on defense? I think he's number one on D-line besides Aaron Donald. He was gone. Everybody needs help. Josh Allen just doesn't have any help. So
we weren't saying that 2 years ago. Their team is not that different. He only had Stephon Diggs 2 years ago, and everybody was anointing him. Right? They never been able to run the ball. Ever. Okay? Josh Allen has been their running game. Right? So that's what I was trying to say is 2 years ago, we were anointing the guy. Not much has changed other than Brian Daboll leaving. I kind of agree with Jake. Like, the creativity, maybe Brian Daboll was a little better with that creativity he's talking about. But
pretty vanilla.
Weapons have not changed. Buffalo's defense has been pretty much the same these last 5 years, right? They haven't been like dropped off where they suck. They're not number one in the league, but they're always right there. So what's the difference? The difference is Josh Allen's decision making, right? In different offenses. For some reason, in the offense he is in now, and before Brian Daboll, when he was a rookie, he couldn't make good decisions.
I do feel like what makes Josh Allen special was his ability to run. I mean, the guy when he started moving forward, I mean, it was he was unstoppable running the ball. And there's definitely more of a reluctancy now to do that, because when you're able to, you don't have that number 2 target to spread defenses out where they can focus on Diggs now. But when a quarterback was able to run, and I think this was the same thing with Lamar with his great year, when he just ran all over the place and he had his best statistical season ever. Defenses have to scheme so much for that opens up so much more for that number 1 target. And Josh Allen, you're expecting. I still watch the game, and every single time I'm watching him, I'm like, run, take off, go. You're so much bigger than everybody else. It's like Art trying to tackle Nick when Nick takes off from the fucking pocket, and it's like it's not going to happen. Like, run, and he doesn't do it.
He would have died.
It's not going to happen.
He would have died right there.
But Allen seems like he's forcing the ball, and it seems like the lack of creativity to actually get Stephon Diggs open is kind of what I'm seeing. Which, Nick, I agree with what you're saying in that.
Here's a question: Is the Jets defense that good?
I think so. I think
Jets
they're
legit.
Are they that good?
It's that good, but not for him to just throw it up and make horrible decisions. Like,
we'll see next week if he still continues what he's doing.
Oh, the Raiders are going to shut him down.
Oh my God!
All right. So really quick,
Where'd he go? He gone.
He fell off his seat.
Yeah, where is he at? Go ahead, Drew.
No, Jets defense is that good, but to Josh Allen and whatnot, it's unforced turnovers. Like that's what kind of like we're saying is those are completely unforced turnovers, dude. Like he hurled, like maybe said Nick said maybe like it's like a punt, but it's like, dude, at the end of the day, like that was a god awful throw, and he's not seeing it clearly. Like or whatever it is, but he's forcing it like nobody's business, and they're completely unforced turnovers. It's not like there's some tip passes and they're getting, this, that, and the other. No, they're fucking right to the guys. You know what I mean? So it's alarming, dude. It's I don't know. It's pretty scary. If I'm a Bills fan, I'm a little worried. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, for the sake of time, we got to move on to the next subject. And real quick, I want to say thank you to Seth. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for chatting. And thank you for filling in to our fantasy league this year. I know you got left with a shitty situation, but it's okay. I know you're going to salvage just fine. But we want to go on to some of the shockers of week 1. I know we kind of discussed the Bills and Josh Allen and whatnot, but there are a lot of other games in the NFL. So please, Papa, start us off. What did you see week 1 that you got to rant about today?
My biggest shock is the Rams. I really thought if I had some money, I was going to bet on Seattle on that game, but that is the biggest shock with them not having Cooper Kupp. That was a big part of their offense, and they just turned around and got, I don't know who this guy is, but he got a bajillion receptions and made yards after the catch. He was Puka, I don't even know how to say his name, Patuka, whatever his name is. He is a stud. Think he's out of BYU. I guess he was doing. I looked him up. He was doing it then too. So, congrats to the Rams. I think they play the Niners next, and is that they play the Niners. So if they beat them, and Sean McVay is the man, I wish he should have been with the Chargers. We have the worst head coach. I admit to it right now.
Oh, now? Yes, finally.
He's pissing me off. I believe if we lose the next 2 games, our offensive coordinator will be the head coach of the Chargers.
He's on the hot seat.
He came in here. He's supposed to build our defense, and we're 29th in every category in defense.
Hey, you guys have spent the most money on defense, though. I'll give you that.
Exactly. We have, the best safety, top 3 safety in the game. We have our bookends that didn't do anything. Joey, we have the worst Joey, the worst Boza out of the Boza brothers right now. I hate to admit that, but we have the I don't know, it's his downfall. I don't know what's in his head. He's not doing anything. Herbert did everything he can. I don't know what else he can do after that. Just like the playoffs, it's still continuing. All we had to do on defense is do one more stop. They couldn't do it. So my biggest shock again is defense. I was high on our defense because we didn't have anybody. Congratulations on our offense. And the biggest shock is the Rams. Jake?
My biggest, there was a lot of them this weekend, and I think that the overreaction for week 1, since they've extended the season, maybe gets a little overplayed because with one less preseason game, a lot of the starters, and I think it takes an extra game to get going. But honestly, looking back, the biggest shock to this week for me was the New York Giants. This is a playoff team last year, and this is a team that won a game in the playoffs last year. They didn't have any turnover, as far as head coach goes and all that. They signed Daniel Jones. And to say they looked lost, was an understatement. It was the worst football I've ever watched. And that to me was shocking because I've never thought Daniel Jones was a great quarterback, but I'd put him in the level of hey, maybe a Jared Goff kind of guy that can run. And it's just that offense looked terrible. And I didn't really even have any high expectations for it because they never go out and they drafted Kadarius Toney. They tried to sign Kenny Golladay. So not like they haven't tried to get some weapons, but even still with Saquon Barkley and Darren Waller, who was out on the field for, most snaps, just to be that anemic was pretty mind-blowing to me. And Dallas looks really good. I can't really tell if Dallas's defense was that great or if the Giants were that bad. I think it's more the Giants being that bad, but that was the biggest shocker for me for the weekend.
Yeah, we really need Strack to chime in and see the gifts that we are posting for his team.
We don't need that grumpy old man. We don't need that grumpy old man.
Right on,
You,
bro.
you guys all get that down in the EDR. Yeah, that grumpy old man. He'll just stand your
Nick, what was your biggest shocker week 1?
The Rams was one for sure. I agree with Arik. But I would have to say I don't know if it was a shocker.
The
But
Raiders.
the Raiders are a good one. Yeah. No, I mean, the Browns, and not that they won, it was more how bad the Bengals looked. I know it's week 1, but Jake, that's what we do. We're here to overreact. So I'm not worried.
Yes.
I'm not worried about the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, all them. They're gonna come back next week, probably put up 40 points to make up for it. But yeah, it's just that matchup. It's just, they've lost 8 out of 10, the last 10 to them. Joe Burrow's 1-5 against the Browns. There's something mental there. I don't know. And the Browns beat them down 82 yards passing. It wasn't even like Jake said about the Giants. Just to say anemic is not even good enough. I get bad weather and stuff, but hey, the Browns put up 24 points. So I mean, can't blame it on the weather. You had the other team too. Now if it was 6-3, I'll give you credit. Hey, they couldn't move the ball. You couldn't move the ball. They just happened to kick an extra field goal and beat you. But they put up 24 points. So I don't want to use that weather as an excuse. The Browns just dominate them. The Browns just have a mental edge on them. And it's just shocking because you always think these good teams are they can't keep losing to the Browns, right? Joe Burrow's gonna figure it out, and they can't. And he hasn't. So, and that's just the way they lost is shocking. Not that they lost, just the way they lost was really shocking to me. But yeah, shout out to my Raiders. Hey, Andrew, I just want to say, and I don't know how he does it, but Jimmy G just wins, right? I don't get it. He just finds a way to win. It's never pretty. He wins 70% of his games. Now I get to feel it as a Raider fan. It's never pretty. He always has the one bad throw, right, Andrew? He always has one bad throw. You're like, what are you doing? And then at the end, he finds a way to win. That's a game. Honestly, that's a game we lost last year. We lost 8 close games last year. We lost 8 1-point score games. That was a game we lost last year. I don't know if it was Carr, the curse, whatever, but for some reason, Jimmy G's in there, finds a way to win. I'll take it. Raiders in first place for 1 week. I'll take it.
So, and into your talk of Jimmy Garoppolo, I mentioned it because in the first 3 minutes, I got an alert that he was in the concussion protocol or whatever. He was going to go get a concussion. I'm like, here we go, dude. The guy's fucking hurt again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The health is always the main concern. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo's an efficient quarterback. He can get the job done. He's not – I don't think he's going to come back and win you games. You know what I mean? But can he keep you in games and can he maintain games? Absolutely. So as long as you guys – your defense is decent enough where it probably can keep you in games, and Jimmy Garoppolo's going to make you guys competitive. I'm not gonna say that he won't. For me, my shocker, I think there's 2. A team that went 13-4, and they won so many of those close games last year was the Minnesota Vikings, right? Well, you lose Dalvin Cook, and now you go get Alexander Madison as your starter, and we all know what Kirk Cousins is. Kirk Cousins is decent, but he's not a great quarterback, and their defense has always been at best. To go and lose against Baker Mayfield and the Bucs week 1, it's just alarming. You know what I mean? It's weird. Credit to the Bucs. Baker Mayfield did enough. I don't see him being anything that's special. I don't see the Bucs being a special team, but for them to go out there and serve up the Vikings week 1 is pretty impressive. And then the next one is the Packers. You lose Aaron Rodgers, you have all the drama, and Jordan Love comes in and he's slinging the dude. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Efficient. No Christian Watson. No Christian Watson.
It's the Bears, guys. It's the Bears. Slow down.
I get it. I'm just saying, it was an impressive first.
Hey, you still got to do it.
Yeah, it was an impressive first game.
That's one of those games that you circle as a Packer. Oh, we won that one right there.
Circle
the winner one. That's it. Come on.
Whoa, hold on. I thought you were super high on this Justin Fields guy.
I
even drafted him
I didn't
in my
I didn't
league
say
for
he's
me.
gonna.
So,
I didn't say he's gonna win the Super Bowl. There's a difference. Fantasy
but
football
you can't just
and
write the
real.
Bears off.
What do
Like,
you mean? What are we
Justin
talking
Fields
about?
should have done
What
something.
are we talking about? Fantasy football, or are we talking about football? Which one are we doing?
Well, a little bit of both.
We're
If he's going to be
covering
good
it
at
all,
fantasy,
damn
he's
it.
got to do something on the field.
All right.
You know?
Well, you know what? To switch gears, let's go ahead and switch gears with that. Let's go ahead real quick. We want to make sure that we keep up all the viewers on our league, okay? And so let me go ahead and screen share, and we'll get into the other topics. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead while we do this. Go ahead.
Nah, I'm just saying I'm number one.
Oh my gosh, here we go. So
Tell you
we're
what,
pulling
shout
up
out.
the league.
I went 5-0 in my week this week. So Raiders win, 5-0 in fantasy. Speaking fantasy, this is a fantasy
my
dream
gosh.
for all you players out there.
Remember, I
Hey, I
drafted
gotta
one of his
gloat.
teams. I drafted one of his teams.
I got to
You're
gloat
welcome.
because
Knock
I still
it
drafted the other
off.
4, Papa. So yeah, it just I got to gloat because you guys know how fantasy goes. You can't. You know, you got to live
Can't
in
win
the
'em all.
moment because it ain't gonna last.
Hey,
So,
hey, based on this little screen that we got here, who's got the most playoff percentage chance to making the playoffs? Who is that?
go to hey, go to league. Hey, go to
It's
league.
hard
Go
to
to
see.
league real quick. Go to league.
Go
Go
to
to
league.
league.
Why are we looking at the past? We got to
Okay.
talk about
League.
And then go to league home. It should be on the league home, I think.
Our
It
standings.
shows. Scroll down. No, the projection, the trend. There you go. Right there.
No,
I love
forget that
this.
thing. That stupid thing.
Scroll down. I love
that
this
thing is dumb. Why do you even look at that?
Yeah,
shit?
this is
So-
ridiculous.
This
This is
is
ridiculous.
this is an algorithm that takes your draft day
Oh,
projection.
Oh,
And then
actually, I
based-
love this thing. I went from 3 to 1. Oh,
I was gonna say, Jake, why do you hate it, Jake? Why do you hate it?
This is the
What it
worst
does,
thing ever.
what it does is it takes your team, it takes your schedule into account because it changes. Once I updated the schedule, it updates this who
Yeah.
you're playing and how they see you finishing. So it's pretty cool to see as the weeks go on what the site thinks where it thinks you're gonna finish based off where you're drafted and then how your team performs. So you
Yeah.
see the drop or come
Fake
up.
news. This is
Ooh,
fake.
ooh, ooh.
So even for me, I didn't move. I drafted the second best, and even after my win, I stayed second. And then Jake surpassed me to 1. So he went from.
I
3 to
love my
20.
team in that league. I love it. I just love
So
it.
I take a look at that all
wasn't
the
in
time.
favor
Pretty
of it.
cool.
I wasn't in favor. This is my team.
Don't worry. Gibbs is just average 6 points a carry, guys. He's gonna come to his own.
Well, I mean, I don't have Jonathan Taylor and I have Garrett Wilson, so my team's in fucking shambles. There you go. There you go.
and he wanted me to bail you out by giving you CeeDee
Anybody.
Lamb,
Anybody
even
wanna
though
take
the
Garrett Wilson?
Dallas offense didn't look that good. But
All right. Well, real quick. So we want to go ahead and talk about. Like I said, keep posted with the league. I lost this week to Jake. Gosh darn it! It was a tough loss. And obviously Nick is in first place, and Drew continues to have issues. It's okay since he drafted Jonathan Taylor. Okay, but it's all good. So, but since we have people watching, we want to talk about Drew. Set us off. Drew's waiver flavor. Okay, we got a lot of situations. We all want to chime in. Who do we think is going to? What do we need to be mindful of? What do viewers need to be mindful of? What do fantasy managers need to be mindful of this week on the waiver wire?
I think, I mean, I'll break down like each position, but for me, I think the most impressive Art kind of nailed it, even though he didn't get his name right, was the Rams receiver. He looks fantastic. And that's Puka Nacua. Just like
Jake, can you say it real quick? Jake, can you say the name real quick?
Say.
Oh God, it's not a white name, so it's really tough. But man, I think it's like
It's not John Smith.
Paul McNamara. No, Puka Nacua.
Go ahead, Drew.
Nacua.
Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
So as we mentioned earlier, there are some guys who just like to target one person, right? I mean, Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys who likes to target one guy. And Matthew Stafford, as long as he's been in the league, he likes to target one guy. You look at the Lions days, he loved Calvin, obviously loved Cooper, and then this last game, Puka Nacua got 15 targets. This guy is like rostered in maybe 2% of leagues. He's definitely a widely available, and I think that's easily my number one target. Just breaking down the rest of the receiver positions that I think off of week one you should take a look at. Next guy is going to be Jacoby Myers. He's rostered in a lot of leagues. I get it, but take a look. In one of my leagues, he's actually available, which I'm kind of surprised in because our leagues are extremely competitive. The other two guys, I'm gonna knock out four real quick. Is Kendrick Bourne in the Patriots and Zay Jones. Zay Jones is one of those kind of guys where he's always just an efficient.
That's what happens when you talk about Zay Jones.
Yeah.
So, got that McDonald Wi-Fi right there. He got that McDonald Wi-Fi.
Sorry, Drew. You cut out. Your Zay Jones rant cut out, and
the universe muted you.
Oh shit!
You're good now. You're good now, though. You're good now. Sorry.
Get off that Starbucks Wi-Fi.
My bad. The next running backs I'm looking at are Kenny Gainwell. Even though he's got a little bit of rib injury, he might not be available for Thursday, but he is somebody who's worth the stash. And Austin Eckler from our beloved Chargers, he might not go this week. So Joshua Kelly is the person you can look into and get a for sure start probably this week. Tyler Algier, if he's out there, he had just as many carries as Bijan Robinson, and he knocked down 2 touchdowns. One more other person is Kyron Williams. Cam Akers didn't look very efficient. Kyron Williams looked pretty good in the Rams offense. And then
somebody was talking about Cam Akers and not drafting him. I don't know who said that, but
I think the whole league said that.
Every league. Yeah.
I think the whole league said that.
No, I said he was on my don't draft list, and you guys all laughed at me.
We laughed at Andrew for drafting him.
Well, anyway,
are you not going to mention the Ravens backfield?
I'm getting to it, bro.
Well, you named like 6 other running backs already.
Because the Ravens backfield is going to be garbage with J.K. Dobbins gone for the rest of the season. It's going to be a mess. They got Gus Edwards. They got Gus Edwards. They have Justice Hill, and now they're saying they're going to bring back Melvin Gordon off the practice squad. So you can take those guys. As far as like a fab goes, I know a lot of people are talking about fab and all that kind of stuff. Puka Nacua is somebody I would put a lot of fab towards. If Jacoby Myers is available, Jacoby Myers is going to be somebody who's going to be valuable, especially in the goal line. He's a big, tall receiver. Puka Nacua, though, like, who knows if Cooper Kupp's going to come back this year? And if he does, what if he re-injures? You know what I mean? Puka Nacua is something I would probably maybe put 15 to 20% of your fab availability to that guy. He's going to be – 15 targets is something that you can't knock. You earn those targets, and that guy definitely earned his targets. Really quickly, I just want to touch about tight ends. I know nobody really cares too much. Zach Ertz had 10 targets. Like I just said about Puka Nacua, targets are an earned thing. Hunter Henry, he looked good. And as far as defenses go, I don't know if it's the Niners defense is that good and makes Pittsburgh look like shit, but the Browns also made Joe Burrow look terrible. I'm taking the Browns at Pittsburgh, and then Justin Fields always gives you a couple turnovers, so I wouldn't mind taking the Bucks versus the Bears. Those are kind of like my my waiver wire advice there, and that's it.
Fantastic. Well, leading into some fabs, Jake, I know you want to talk about this real quick. A lot of different fantasy leagues and managers have different ways of approaching the waiver wire. And so, Jake, what is it that you wanted to talk about as far as the FAB system?
So I know our league doesn't use the fab system, but with whether you're using a fab system or just waiver wire order, first off, know your league. If you're in a full point PPR, prioritize those pass catchers, a little bit more than say like a Justice Hill. or something like that. I think Justice Hill is going to be a good waiver wire pickup because he's in a situation now where there's a void for the rest of the season. They used him when Dobbins went out. So that's a huge deal. But if I'm in a PPR system and my running backs, hey, they stayed healthy this week or whatever, I may not prioritize it that much. Fab system is the same thing. The advice I would give with that is before you have a set amount that's got to get you through the entire year. We're through week 1. If you took a win this week and you didn't have any of these injuries or anything like that, go out and throw a bid on Puka Nuua or whatever. I forgot that But if you have go throw a bid out. But I'm not going to shoot off 30% of my fab on somebody that I'm not going to start over my starters next week. Make sure, is this somebody that I can start? Is this somebody that's going to be on my roster? Is this somebody that's going to sit on my bench? Because if somebody is just going to sit on your bench for the next 3-4 weeks or whatever, you're wasting 30% of your fab. A lot can change in 3 weeks to where you may need that to bid on, somewhere else. Last year was the first year that I really used a fab system. And the first 2 weeks I had spent, it's like 60, 70% of my fab. And by week 12, 13, 14, it was like, God, I wish I would have had some of that left because I spent it on a bunch of guys that just sat on my bench, and so make sure you know your team and if you were not affected by injuries and all that stuff, then maybe hold on to the fab. You got a lot of weeks left. There's going to be a lot of injuries ahead, and you want to be the guy that's sitting on 70, 80% of your fab budget, in week 12 or 13 when everybody else has kind of shot their load. So that would be the advice with that, is just know your team.
I think you have to keep in mind too, you also have bye weeks. So right now, the first 4 weeks of the season, we all get excited. We got all these people on the bench, and we want to make moves and stuff. But we have to keep in mind we have bye weeks coming. So that depth and all that too comes in mind. And like Jake was saying, it's a different strategy game. I get what you're saying, Jake, but at the same time, if like you said, if you're winning, cool. If you're not, like, you're over here saving your fab, and then you don't even make the playoffs. So what's the point, right? So it's kind of like you got to look at your roster, see how it's constructed. My pick would be Kyren Williams. One, because I don't like Cam Akers. I never thought he'd be good, and I felt like this rookie. I actually drafted him in one of my leagues. I felt like he was going to take over the job. And it already looked like week 1 he's going to. Cam Akers had 22 carries. He out-carried him. 22 carries, 29 yards. Congratulations. And they gave Kyren Williams 15 carries. I think he had like 40 or 50. Like, he was way more efficient with the carries. It's going to get more and more. And I would spend like a 5% to 10% on a guy like that with the upside of being a starter the rest of the year versus, like Jake was saying, a guy that is just going to ride your bench the rest of the year, So especially with running backs that are thin, if you can get a starter that's going to take over the role and be as efficient as Kyrie Williams is, then I like him as my pickup of the week.
Well, here's the perfect, as far as fab goes, just like chime in really quick. So like in one league that we use a fab system, I lost Deontay Johnson. He's going to be out they said a few weeks, but somebody that's in that situation, Deontay Johnson was my wide receiver too. You're going to be a little more inclined to want to spend a little bit more money on somebody like Puka Nuua or
Kendrick Bourne.
Right. And they're not going to be a starter. You got Cooper Kupp coming back in a few weeks. Deontay Johnson will be back in a few weeks. But what is it worth to you to have somebody that can carry you and be in your starting lineup for those few weeks, as opposed to somebody like in another league? I got DK Metcalf and CeeDee Lamb. Those guys are healthy. I'm not starting Puka over those guys, so I'm not going to go shoot out 30% of my fab. So know your team and know your situation.
Yeah,
I want to add on.
Doesn't necessarily mean the play, regardless of the player. Know your situation and know your team.
If you have Deontay Johnson, in deeper leagues, and the top 3 guys, you're going to pick those guys up. I want to say Allen Robinson, He's going to get vacated targets. He already had 8 targets with 84 yards when he was gone, when Deontay Johnson's on. So that's another waiver pickup I want to say. Just want to add that on there real quick.
Thank you very, very much, Papa. Real quick, if you don't mind us, Papa, obviously we're raising in subscribers. We hit over 800 subscribers this month, and we're
Thank you.
We're gonna be hitting 1,000 and beyond here very soon. And so, I guess you have some giveaways for some people. And
I do. I have a signed auto. I don't know if you can see it. My camera is
put it in your face,
here.
in front of your face. There you go.
Booyah! I can't. Booyah! An auto for Fields, my boy, for fantasy. He's going to be MVP for fantasy quarterback. So we're going to do a giveaway.
That's bold.
I want to say
it values 1,000 or what?
It values about $500 right now. If he wins, it goes back
at 1,000 subscribers. We're going to do the giveaway.
We're going to do. We could do 1,000.
We'll figure that out, how we can privately get someone's address and make sure we can send it to them and make sure we're not scamming people, right? But we'll figure all that out. We just want to make an announcement that we're growing and we're going to continue to try and put out either giveaways or merch and make that part of our podcast here. And so just to kind of close things out, we're getting close to the end of the show, but we always have to close out a little bit of Pick by Nick. Pick by Nick.
Well, as Andrew already hit it, my pick last week was Minnesota. I hate when I have to trust Kirk Cousins. It's just, he tends to let you down every time. But I think it was still a solid pick. Like Andrew said, he was shocked by it. I think everybody was. My pick this week, I was going back and forth from 2 different teams. But I landed on, let's keep riding that Green Bay Packers train. Green Bay Packers, 1.5 over Atlanta. I don't buy Atlanta. I'm sorry. They got some talent. Dude, Desmond Ridder, 4 for 4 with 0 yards to start the game. Like, he can't throw the ball. That Packers defense is legit. They're young. They're hungry. They have the youngest team in the league, but they're good. They showed that. I'm sorry, Ben. Atlanta played nobody. I think the Bears are better than the Panthers as far as talent-wise. So what I saw from the Packers and only having to cover 1.5 to Atlanta, I'll take the Packers train. Let's see if they can keep it going. The other one, it doesn't count because I only get one a week, but I was going to kind of do the reversal of the Giants. I was going to take the Giants. They got to have that bounce-back game, and guess who they're playing? Arizona. And Arizona just went to Washington and gave up a fight, but now they got to go to the Giants. Another West Coast, East Coast thing. Yeah, it just smells like a bounce back game, but I ended up going with the Packers. So that's my official pick. Packers 1.5.
I definitely think. Go ahead, Drew.
You don't think your Raiders can cover 9.5 against the Bills?
I do, but it's not my pick. Remember, this is like the for sure money pick, right? Like, I would throw the Raiders in the parlay, but no, they're not my pick.
The Chargers
were close.
You better tease it up.
Were close because good teams that get embarrassed, they weren't embarrassed, but good teams that have tough losses and stuff tend to bounce back. So the Chargers were close. I think it's 3 points right now, right?
Yeah,
it's only 3 to cover. That look enticing, and stuff like that. There's a lot of good picks out there, but I'm going with the Green Bay. They have the weakest game and only have to cover a point and a half, 2 points. Oh, they'll beat Atlanta by field goal.
Is that the lock?
That's the lock.
That's the
Packers.
Lock. Well, thank you, Nick, for that. We'll pay attention to that, and to end the show here for the last 10 minutes here. We got week 2 coming around the corner, you guys. Starting off with Thursday. Okay, so Papa, please pass it on after this. What are we looking out for week 2?
Week 2. Oh, this is tough. We're going to go with the Chargers.
Oh, of course.
What do you mean? We're playing against Tennessee. Why not? I don't trust Tannehill. Tannehill is trash. All you have to do, hopefully, all we have to do is stop one guy. And I don't think they can match us point for point. I think we have to score a bajillion points against teams now.
All you had to do is stop one guy last week.
One time. They put Cleo Mack on him. Come on. What's going on here? What is going on over there? They put Cleo Mack on the best receiver in the game. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Jacob, what do you think's going to happen? What's important for week 2?
Well, I'm going to take more of a I'll take a fantasy angle from it all, for the people watching. But in week 2, I'm really looking for just some stability in kind of your your first round picks that were kind of off the main street. Like I'm looking right now for Jamar Gibbs. I want to see, now that they beat the Chiefs, they came out and said that they were taking a very conservative and veteran approach to that game. Like, let's see, people drafted Jamar Gibbs in the early 3rd round. Let's see what kind of workload he gets, what we build on from there. I'm looking to see how Jamar Chase bounces back. But I've just kind of seen this pattern in the last 2 years since the league has expanded by a game where, like the Derrick Henry, Tajay Spears workload was split, or the snap count was split. I want to see now, people drafted Derrick Henry very early. Let's see how that split in the workload, let's see what happens in week 2. I want to see, people are going to go out and they're going to drop a lot of fab on Joshua Kelly after the Chargers took a loss. I know they say Austin Eckler's, has the ankle issue or whatever, but Chargers drop 0-2, 0-3. Do you really think that we're going to be doing a time split with Austin Eckler, who's your best running back, and Joshua Kelly, who couldn't even hardly find his spot? He was splitting backup roles last year. So kind of what's the truth with some of the draft picks that people spent, high draft capital on? That's kind of what I'm looking for. Don't panic yet. It's just week 1, but week 2, let's kind of try and find the truth moving forward about where our top picks are and where they're going to be moving forward.
Drew, what's on your mind week 2?
There's some divisional bloodbaths. I always love watching divisional games. For me, it's the Ravens-Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to be hungry after that pounding they took from the Browns. Obviously the Niners-Rams. The Niners destroy the Rams, every year for the last 4 years. So that'll be fun to watch, see if Big Cock Brock can continue to be himself. You know what I'm saying? So, but no, from a fantasy aspect, the biggest game I want to watch, there's no question about it. It's the Chiefs versus the Jags. Anybody that's they know I absolutely love Trevor Lawrence this year. And I think that game, whatever the over is, I don't know what it is. I think it's going to go over. It's an opportunity to be a fantasy fireworks. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I really want to watch that game for sure as far as the fantasy aspect.
Awesome. Nico.
I just want to add on to what Jake said. He mentioned Gibbs, but I'm just going to say all the rookies. We have so many more rookies playing now that are fantasy relevant. Obviously, the 3 quarterbacks, they all had their ups and downs. In general, I thought they all looked pretty good. They weren't great, don't get me wrong, but it's their first start. I saw a lot of good things from each one of them, of why they got picked so high. Of course, they got to knock that rust off and stuff and get used to the speed of the game. I think that's the main thing for the 3 quarterbacks is just the speed of the game is so much faster. But yeah, you got Gibbs. Bijan, he looks legit. He's got that quickness that you can just see. It's just nasty. Obviously Gibbs, I want to see more of him. A couple handoffs he got against the Chiefs, he did look explosive. So it just looked like they didn't use him enough. But out of, to be honest, David Montgomery looked good too. So it's not like they're not giving him the ball for some other scrub. Dude, David Montgomery's a legit running back too. Obviously Gibbs is going to give him that explosiveness. So Jordan Addison, great spot with the Minnesota Vikings. Wasn't enough to cover my damn pick, but he looked good. So yeah, all these rookies that are out there, I always like to see if they can keep it up or see if their workload increases, like Jake says. Let's see what these rookies got and their impact for the rest of the season, especially since we have 3 quarterbacks that are basically going to be the starters the rest of the year.
Well, thank you guys very, very much for an awesome show loaded with all kinds of content of what happened in week 1 and also anticipating week 2. And so, like I said, please, viewers, please join us every Tuesday at 6 p.m. We're going to be here every week giving you your waiver wire pickups and giving you giving out our weekly rants. And please feel free to join us, chat with us on the Discord, leave a GIF, or chat with us. But that's going to be it for today, you guys. All right. So until next time. All right, you guys. We'll see you guys next week. All right.
Love y'all.
Peace be the
See you
journey.
guys.
Peace.
And one love.
Peace.
Love y'all.